knots. This seems to be the almost mystical barrier that speed surfers are chasing. It was also my goal for this Lüderitz trip. But, as is always the case in speed surfing, we largely depend on nature to give us the conditions so that we can go really fast. And in this edition of the Lüderitz Speed Challenge, the first 3 weeks we only had light wind. Light wind, this means 30 knots, and while for most windsurfers 30 knots sounds great, for speed surfers who are trying to break their records, world records, national records or 50 knots, 30 knots is really nothing. We need more. And of course, as my trip came to an end, the forecast for week 4 looked epic. 40 knots, possibly more, a good wind angle, everything seemed to line up for the last week. So what did I do? Of course, I had to waste a little bit more money to try to get this mystical 50 knots, because the conditions just looked that good. 2 days with 40 plus knots, a decent wind angle in the forecast. Could this be the day where we would finally get some world records for the big guys and possibly some national records for the lighter guys? For me, could it be the day that I finally break the 50 knots top speed?
Well, miss, I guess I'll be on my way now.
With the big forecast, the channel opened early in the morning around 9 AM, and as per usual I was amongst the first who went out on the channel to test the conditions, and I just needed the runs very early to feel confident with my gear and with the channel, because for me every run really helps to get more confidence on the channel, especially since it was my first year in Lüderitz. Little advertisement for the sponsor of today's video, Wind Lounge. The guys from the Wind Lounge supported me in creating these videos and throughout the trip, so a huge thanks to them. The Wind Lounge is the youngest online windsurf shop out there, and currently they have a winter special going on. All the information is linked down below in the video description. Feel free to check it out if you're still looking for Christmas presents or if you just want to buy new gear for the next season. So thanks a lot guys for supporting me, and let's continue with the video. Usually conditions are rather square in the morning, and square means the channel is perfectly flat, but it also means in super square conditions lighter guys will not go super fast. So what we're looking for is basically the magical angle in between square and broad, where we can go really fast but where the waves and the chop don't build up yet. And this angle is probably in a range of maybe 5 degrees where it's really perfect. So in the morning it was really square, and we thought the angle would slowly turn and the wind would slowly increase over the day. But it really didn't happen like that. In the morning we had square winds, and then after about an hour with square winds and 30 knots, the wind completely died. And instead of turning, slowly with the wind increasing, the wind died for 1 hour and then came back from the super broad regular direction 1 hour later with 40-50 knots. That was pretty windy, yeah? It seems like speed surfers are always complaining because with that strong wind, the wind angle was just so broad that I only sailed 2 or 3 runs and I had some pretty scary moments. And I also saw Hans crashing big time at 100 kilometers an hour. I saw Vincent having some moments. And yeah, in the end I didn't really want to crash in that, and it was also not so fast anymore for me because with that broad angle and that much chop I just couldn't push anymore. I did, however, almost reach my goal of 50 knots. I got to 49.5, then I got to 49.6, and in the end my top speed was 49.8 knots, so just shy of the 50 knots. And yeah guys, now I understand why this Luderitz speed thing is so addictive, because I really want to go back, because I know for sure I can go faster than that in the right conditions. But I think that's always the case in speed surfing. You will never have that run where you will say, okay, that was perfect, I can't go faster anymore. So you really want to go back, and because you know you can do better. And yeah, so maybe next year or in 2 years I will see if I can find the sponsoring to go again, because it was so much fun to do this Luderitz speed challenge and I really want to do it again. Anyway, the big guys really showed their skill in these conditions, and especially I have to say Vincent Falconer was killing it, because he did one run of 53.1 knots, and I think the world record from Antoine Albo is 53.27 knots or 29 knots. Again, he was just short like 0.2 knots, and we were really pushing him and helping him and caddying him. But yeah, in the end he kind of ripped his sail in the strong wind and had to take his second best sail, and then the conditions deteriorated, so it was just so close. So it's really unfortunate for him that he just couldn't get it that day. But it was really impressive to see Hans, Gunnar and Vincent sailing in these conditions, especially with the chop towards the end, because you could crash really easily. Anyway, I really hope you did enjoy this video. For me it was a lot of fun to go to Luderitz and film all this stuff for you.